Okay, here's the one scale 1966 T5 Fastback. You notice the front has the standard bar grille. Special items for a T5 are the emblems. So you'll notice T5. Doesn't say Ford, or doesn't say Mustang. Car, silver blue, white parchment interior. Special options inside. See the horn ring, just says Ford on it. Doesn't say Mustang. So that's one way you can tell. One is speedometer is in miles per hour. That's because this car was bought by an American serviceman through the PX, which came in miles per hour. Under the hood, it's a six-banger, so it's a straight six, 200 cubic inch, which was a standard engine in 1966. We've added the K&N filter just for better breathability. Items that are specific to T5 under the hood is the export brace. You'll notice it's a one-piece export brace, unlike the standard 66s that had a two-piece brace. Other items in here that are specific to the T5 is actually the buck plate that's found on the left-hand side driver's side fender. You notice it has all the same markings, but there's a big X at the bottom. The X indicates it was for export. And that's probably one of the few ways you can actually tell this is an export car. Then you match the tag to, down here on the fenders, we have the original serial number that matches the tag. So that's about it. Also down underneath we have a 5/8 inch sway bar versus a 1/2 inch sway bar. It's the only other change on the car. This is the start of the conversion. Out of the box, it's a Ertyl 1/18 scale 1965 Ford Mustang 2+2 Fastback in silver blue. The conversion, we want to turn it into a 1966 Ford T5 Fastback in silver blue. What do we have to change? Well, we have to change the Mustang logo on the sides to a T5 logo. We need to change the front grille from a 65 grille to a 66 grille. Here you can see the 65 grille, it's a mesh. The 66 is a set of bars. Also the pony logo needs to have the bars removed from it. Within the motor, the other thing noticed on the Ertyl is that the front dash light, or the front turning signals are white, they should be amber. In the motor compartment, ultimately I'd like to get to a straight 6. Currently we have a V8. Other things that need to be changed include the, hard to see in here, but the brace. Currently it's a standard Mustang brace with two pieces. The T5 has an export brace, which is a solid piece. Other changes on the rear end here, we've now need to move from a 1965 gas cap that says Ford Mustang to a 1966 cap. That shouldn't be too bad. Notice we're also missing the rear bumperettes right out of the box, so this is something that I'll have to find a pair. Biggest change that we're going to actually have to deal with here is my actual 1:1 scale T5 is a silver blue, but it's a parchment interior. This is a black interior. So the major retrofit I need to do on this one is to pretty well turn a black interior into a parchment interior. Also minor issues, this is an automatic, I need a standard. There's no console, I need to add the console. And the horn ring needs to turn from a Mustang horn ring into a T5 horn ring. But that's pretty well the list of changes need to make on the car. As I say, as we go through it, we'll compare it to the, you'll see in the original car, the 1:1 scale car, and this will see how close we can get it to the actual car. I'll take you through step by step as we sort of change each part. So this is the disassembled car. As you see, parts all over. The way I got disassembled, because it was kind of interesting to get done, is I'll just describe it real quickly. Start with tires. Pop the inner hubcap or pop the inner spinners off, and there's a screw behind each one that connects to the axle. So once you have the 4 tires off the axles, and right here you'll see the screw on them, you can then undo 8 screws. 1 in each of the rear mud panels, 1 in each of the front bolts, 2 that hold the panel into the firewall, and there were 2 underneath here that were under panels that were glued down, that were hidden real well. So you've got to pry those panels off onto the mud flat on the floor pans to find the 2 screws. The 2 screws at the front bars were also underneath little covers, so you had to pop those covers off. So that's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 screws to take off. Once you have the 10 screws off, the front fenders come off, front mud fender comes off, the rear fender the rear panel comes off. Then once you're inside, you can unscrew the interior. The interior is held on by 3 screws, so those are really visible, so that was easy to pop off. Trunk pops out just as a whole unit. Once you get that off, the dashboard was screwed on with 2 screws to the interior. Once all that's out, you can take the headliner out and the rear quarter panel trim out. It just pops right out. The 2 doors just peel. They came actually popped right off the doors, so that wasn't too big a deal. It was they came off with the 2 door pieces, and you'll notice the glass is still attached for the smaller windows, and the inside of the door now is just all empty. So the car now is in a state where I can actually start painting the interior. I can start working on decals. I can start correcting any parts that aren't a 66. The grill is out, so we will now take have to take the grill and turn it into a 66 grill from a 65 grill. Do the painting, turn the emblems into T5s. The other thing is I've got to convert it from a automatic to a standard, and I have to also at some point, and I have not decided yet how at this point, turn a V8 into a straight 6. I may have to get myself a parts car for this part of it. Anyway, so that's where we are now. Now we'll start painting the pieces, and the next video I will do is once we have all the bits and pieces painted to match the other car. Okay, now what you can see is we've actually finished painting all the interior pieces parchment. We've finished painting the carpets. We've finished painting the dashboard and the inner door panels and armrests the silver blue, and we're ready to start reinstalling the interior and various parts. There's the dashboard, steering wheel, and the carpets and rear seats. One of the more interesting challenges was trying to figure out what to do with the hubcaps. They were 65 hubcaps, 66 being different. Looked everywhere on the internet, but no one sells a 1/18 scale 66 hubcap or standard hubcap with spinner. So what we did is we went online, pulled up some images of a hubcap, which you can see here, printed them, cut out the centers so they go on the spinners. The centerpiece for the spinners we also cut out, as you can see here. And then we basically glued them onto the current hubcap. We used the chrome from the old hubcap on the sides, put in the center pieces that are painted gray and silver, and then put the center piece in the hubcap with the horse. So I now have all 5 wheels using 66 hubcaps. A little creative, a little different, but it worked. So the toughest part about the model was actually building a straight 6 200 cubic inch engine. Here you can see the final product. From the top down. longer block. We had to extend the block, narrow the block, build a new valve cover, build a new block casing, change the parts so your distributor, coil, fuel pump are all on one side, exhaust intakes are on the other side. Anyway, it looks like it pretty well came out. You also notice at this point now there's an export brace installed, just like the standard T5. So this was the big job, and she's all sitting in there and looking like a straight 6 block. Okay, and here we have the finished conversion from a 1965 Mustang Fastback to a 1966 T5 Fastback. Car color is silver blue, color code Y, with the interior code D2 parchment with blue highlights. What have we changed? Well, first thing is we added the T5 decal. So you can see right here, it's bouncy, but T5. So we have the T5 decal on the side. We've changed the hubcaps to 1966 hubcaps with spinner centers. All 4 hubcaps plus the stern. You'll notice there's no longer showing as a V8, it's now showing as a straight 6. The V8 badge is gone. On the exterior, rear hubcaps, 66 again. From the front, you see now we have a 1966 with the vertical bars. Also, the license plate is now a British Columbia 1966 license plate, matching where the car is currently. We've got the amber turn signals. We've also had the chrome strip along the top of the hood. Under the hood, we've now got the straight 6, 200 cubic inch. Plus you'll notice the export brace, which brings it in line with the T5. So there's just another shot. This is straight 6 itself. Chrome air filter and the cross brace. On the back side you'll see we've now got the T5 gas cap, just says Ford. We've added the bumperettes, the 1966 beautiful BC license plate, and in the trunk you'll notice the tire also has 65 rims with the hubcaps with the proper spinner centers. On the interior we now have a 66 T5 horn ring with just the Mustang symbol showing, or the Ford symbol, no T5. It's now a white parchment interior with the blue highlights, blue side panels, blue dash pad. We've added the console, so now we have a parchment console, and it's now a standard with the 3-speed standard inside. Carpets are the 66 blue, and in the back we've got the rear seats folded down here. Okay, now in the rear seats you can see the full rear seats folded up with the seats visible, the blue carpet, and the interior. All matching to a 66. Okay, and here we have the finished conversion from a 1965 Mustang Fastback to a 1966 T5 Fastback. Car color is silver blue, color code Y, with the interior code D2 parchment with blue highlights.